All right. Hello, everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers. And I am finally starting to get my voice back. I'm not 100%, but I am better than I was 2 weeks ago. So hopefully we'll be able to get through this session. So this is the weekly ecom planning session where we go through our plan for creating our strategy for success for next week. So that's our goal, our objective. And during this weekly ecom planning session, today's topic happens to be prepping for Black Friday. Now, I will tell you, the majority of the stuff that's on here really is stuff that we should have done before now, but it's okay. We're going to talk about it anyway. So, just so you know, we're live on Clubhouse. We're also live in the e-commerce planning Facebook group, and hopefully, my voice will not shut down on me in the middle of this because, again, I've been down for the count for about 2 weeks now, and hopefully, my voice will come back. It's extremely important. I feel like that if you haven't put together your Black Friday strategy, then we got to get it together now. So, again, join us on Clubhouse or join us in the e-commerce planning Facebook group so that we can go through this list. Now, before we get into the checklist for the weekly ecom planning session, I want to invite you, if you haven't already gone over to the e-commerce planning Facebook group, go to the files section, and then you can download the daily, weekly, and monthly planning checklist so that way you can follow along after we talk about Black Friday. So let's get into it, shall we? So Black Friday, prepping for Black Friday. Here's the deal. We don't have a lot of time left. We got almost just under 2 weeks before Black Friday is here. Okay. Just under 2 weeks. So you got 13 days to put together your strategy. I would encourage you today that if you don't have a plan or strategy, that you spend today going through that. Again, my voice may or may not stay with us the entire time, but definitely start pulling together your own checklist so that you know what your strategy is going to be. So we're going to go through some things. We're going to go through a 4-part series, and today's list is a little long. Tomorrow's list will be long as well, or Monday's list. So the first thing is that with Black Friday, and again, most of these things you should have figured them out in quarter 3. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. If you are down for the count, can you still make money in these remaining weeks? Yeah, because you've got like 9 of the busiest shopping days of the year coming right up back to back to back to back to back. And so there's still an opportunity for you to make money. So can you still pull it together and make some money in this Black Friday that's coming up, Cyber Monday, and all the way into the end of the year? Absolutely. But you got to have a plan. So let's talk about it. So the first one is figuring out your cash flow needs, figuring out where your deficits are going to be, where you're going to need money either for inventory. And again, depending on your e-commerce strategy, I would tell you, like if you're doing wholesale, you probably should have already placed your orders. Again, a lot of this stuff should happen in third quarter. So you should have already placed your orders. That's just the reality. Can you still get some inventory this late in the game? Yeah. If you have local wholesalers available to you that you can just roll up and get some inventory, yes. You have also local liquidators that are available, then you can roll up and get some inventory as well. You can also check with the wholesale suppliers you're already working with just to see what they have available and what they can deliver quickly. And then if you have other strategies that you use, like if you're doing retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, then you still have time. You have plenty of time in the middle of this game. You probably want to go grab the inventory that you plan on listing and selling, so you have that inventory already live for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But you need to figure out, what your cash flow is going to be for this little short window that you're going to take advantage of to make some money. So definitely figure out your cash flow strategy. If you're doing drop shipping, if you're doing print on demand, you still have time. You can spend today going through and figuring out what you're going to source and sell, creating your products online or sourcing your products. So you still have some time to create those listings. I probably should have made create listings number 1, because if you haven't already created them, you need to create those listings, okay? If you haven't already created them. But anyway, figure out your cash flow strategy. And also, before that, we'll just say number 1 on the list is create your listings. Create your listings. So spend today creating listings. Those listings got to go live, okay? Number 2, prepare for a long sales period. Again, a lot of this you should have done in quarter 3. Typically, right after Halloween, Christmas just starts. I mean, like Christmas is already starting before then, sort of, because Christmas stuff is in the back office of most of retail shops, depending on, again, your e-commerce method. You could actually order Christmas inventory in July and August. So it's not like it's new, but they will start marketing, advertising. You'll see it in the stores. It will become top of mind for people immediately following Halloween, if not on Halloween. So prepare for that long sales cycle where people are actually going to be offering their Black Friday deals before Black Friday. So since you have 2 weeks, or less than 2 weeks, 13 days, you still have an opportunity. If you get your butt in gear today, you can go ahead and put together, what your sales or what your products you're going to be selling, so that way those listings are live and you can start offering Black Friday specials as of today. Like, you make them live today. Number 3 is double down on your top sales channels. If this is your first year in e-commerce, then you may not know 100% yet what your top sales channel is going to be. But if you have some history of what you've done in the past, if you've sold before, and you know that Amazon is your big money maker, or eBay is your big money maker, or whichever platform is your big money maker, then you need to go ahead and get going with those platforms. You need to make sure that, again, your listings are live on those platforms and that you're going to put all of your effort and energy into that. That includes any coupons, ads, sales, campaigns that you're going to run, Google ads, YouTube ads, whatever it happens to be that you're going to be running. So double down on that platform and make sure that your listings are optimized on that platform. This probably should have been number 2. Anyway, number 4, know your Q4 delivery strategy. So again, you first got to know your method. So what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing drop shipping, print on demand? Are you going to be doing retail and online arbitrage? Are you going to be doing wholesale? Like, okay, now when we figured that out, what's your platform that you're going to make sure that you have a presence on? If you haven't figured that out, you need to nail that down today. And then number 3, make sure you have a plan for getting this inventory to your customer. Again, with print on demand and with drop shipping, it's pretty much, you've got processes in place. You can't always control when that inventory is going to arrive at your customer, but at least, you have a strategy or a plan. You want to make sure that you're aware, whatever you decide you're going to sell, that you're aware of what their estimated delivery times are, so you can put that into the listing. Very important to set the expectation for your customers. So keep that in mind. Number 5, develop your ads, campaigns, your promotions, your sales, your coupons, and your deal strategy. Look, you should have done this like November the 1st if you didn't, because you want those listings to be optimized. You want them to be optimized for the platform and for whatever ad strategy that you're using. So, those keywords, the getting the ranking of that particular listing, you want to start that sooner rather than later. You don't want to be on Black Friday trying to optimize a listing, trying to get some traffic to it. You don't want to be doing that. That's crazy. You don't want to do that. Okay. Number 5, consider going international. So if you're currently just selling in the US, that's fine. But you could consider, if you have the opportunity, depending on which platforms you sell on, selling internationally, meaning selling in Canada, selling in the UK, selling on Mexico, selling in Australia, selling on some of these other countries that maybe you had never explored before. Now, do I recommend that you introduce something new in the middle of Q4? No, but you could, if you were paying attention in the past when I talked about, like, these are some of the things you should be thinking about in Q3, figure out what it is you want to be able to accomplish in Q4 and start planning for it in Q3. So begin that process of, if you have a platform that you're selling on, maybe you're selling on Amazon and you can just easily list your products onto Canada, then maybe this is an opportunity to think about it. I always like to test the platform and the country before I just go live with it in the middle of Q4. But hey, we're right here 13 days before. You're already here. Let's just see what happens. Okay. Number 6, I think, maybe create your contingency plans. If you don't have contingency plans, that should have been something, again, that you created in Q3. Contingency plans around your cash flow, contingency plans around your inventory, contingency plans around your listing strategy, your shipping strategy, contingency plans around your campaigns. All of those things matter. Okay. So having a contingency plan, a backup plan. So let's say there's something that you're planning on selling. You've been talking about it. You've been preparing for it. You've ordered it. But that particular item is no longer available with your wholesale supplier. Maybe they promised you 2 pallets and they only have a case left. So now what's your plan or strategy since you already know that's a top selling product? I typically will make sure that I have backups for my products in Q3. If I didn't already do that in Q2, so that I'm ready for that, especially if I'm ordering in bulk from a wholesaler. If I'm not ordering in bulk, like maybe there are some wholesalers that will allow you to order smaller quantities, and you can maybe order a bunch of different small quantities from different suppliers. Maybe you go find an alternate for your product on AliExpress. So again, what's your contingency plan for Q4? And also for Black Friday, for the products that you know are going to be hot selling products and Black Friday. So my voice is continuing to go down the rabbit hole. We'll see how this goes. Number 7, make your inventory decisions early. I've already talked about that. Knowing what you're going to sell. Again, you should have already known that in Q3. So making those decisions about your inventory early. Yeah. So going ahead and moving forward with, what is your inventory plan? And again, knowing what your e-commerce method is going to be. If you're doing print on demand, your inventory needs are going to be a little easier to satisfy than if you were ordering from a wholesale supplier and you're a little behind the 8 ball. Now, I will tell you, only because of the economy and only because of all of the unique things that have been happening with certain retailers, that you actually might be able to find some inventory still this late in the game. And that is because, as I talked about over the last probably 6 weeks, whole big retailers like Best Buy and Kohl's and JC Penney's and even Target was telling their suppliers that they weren't going to be accepting the inventory. And so that meant that inventory had to go somewhere because it was already ordered. It was already shipped across the pond or across the ocean. So it's going to be somewhere. There's a possibility that you will be able to find a lot of great inventory for Kohl's or for JCPenney's that they would have picked up, but they rejected because they just didn't have the cash flow for it. You might find it with liquidators. So again, there might be an opportunity, especially if you live in an area where you could drive. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where you could drive and get to a supplier, a liquidator that has inventory, an abundance of inventory that you can roll up with the truck and maybe fill up the back of a truck. There's still that opportunity to do that. So do some searches. If it means a 2-hour drive for you or a 3-hour drive for you, it may be worth it, especially if you're behind the 8 ball and you didn't really plan for this. Okay. So their loss might be a gain for you, or it might be a perk for you this Q4. Next, build your daily and weekly schedule. Now, since you only got 13 days left, I really, really, really want you to build a good schedule for next week and the following week. What is your plan for Thanksgiving? Like, if you haven't already thought about Thanksgiving, you might want to place an order with a store so that way you don't have to cook. Now, if you love to cook and that's your jam, then do that. But if you are trying to maximize the income potential of this Black Friday, then you might want to outsource Thanksgiving and just tell everybody to come see you during Christmas so that way you can focus Thanksgiving and Black Friday all on the Black Friday sales and the weekend sales. So put together a plan of what you're going to be doing every single day, how many hours you're going to be working in your business. If you're currently working like 4 hours a day in your business, maybe you're going to pump it up to 6 hours a day. Maybe instead of working 5 days a week, you're going to pump it up to 6 days a week, just so you can get that extra oomph and get in those extra hours that may help you in your business. Make sure your VA team, if you have a VA team, are ready. Make sure if you're working with a prep center, 3PL, that they're ready for a potential slight bump this late in the game from you. So again, build a schedule so that you can accomplish whatever it is you're looking to accomplish in this remaining, again, you got like 9 of the busiest shopping days of the year that are happening between Black Friday and New Year's Day. For those people who don't know that, you do. So, and we've talked about it before. You can go back and watch the videos on what those days are, but they're right here. You're in that window. Number, I don't know what number this is, number maybe 8 or 9. Organize your upcoming sales. So being prepared for the upcoming sales, and it's number, the last two go together. Like, test your store if you have a store. If you're doing a Shopify store, if you've got a WooCommerce store, BigCommerce, whatever it happens to be, Wix, Weebly, whatever you're doing, make sure that your store is ready for surges. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff if you're selling on Amazon or if you're selling on eBay or Etsy. They're ready for the surges in traffic on those platforms. But if you have your own storefront that you are running, then you want to make sure that your storefront can handle the traffic, any traffic that you might be driving to it. So I hope these are things that will help you. This is just like the start of this journey. I will probably repeat a couple for the next one, which our next session. So we'll talk about part 2. But I do want you to make a note of things that you need to consider for Black Friday and for Q4, so that if you feel like you're behind the 8 ball now, that you put together a strategy for next year so that you won't be so far behind the 8 ball. And so you have the opportunity to be able to take advantage of this, the season of mass purchases. People are still buying in the midst of the word recession. People are still buying in the midst of the word layoffs. People are still buying. So take advantage of that and take advantage of any excess inventory that might exist out in the universe. So with that, I hope you'll share this out with somebody. Come back for our next segment where we talk about Black Friday prep part 2 and let somebody else know about it. Now we're going to get ready to go into the weekly ecom planning session. But before we do that, I want to invite you to dial up your e-commerce business for 2023 and get laser focused by grabbing the 2023 My Ecom Planner. The 2023 Ecom Planner is chock full of so many great tidbits. I was going through yesterday because we added some sections to it. We added suppliers to it in the back. We added a section for you to be able to track, of course, your product research and your sourcing research. We've added, of course, all of the amazing holidays that are available that you could be sourcing and selling products, selling inventory for, especially if you are struggling with product ideas. Like the list is just crazy. You also have the ability to track your daily, weekly, and monthly stats, and you also have the option to be able to see, what you did for the quarter, for the month, and for the quarter, as far as your income producing stats are. So grab the My Ecom Planner so that you can make sure that your business is ready for 2023. You can go to myecomplanner.com right now to grab the planner. In addition to that, if you need to schedule a free 20-minute coaching session, you can go to ecomsellers.com, click on free resources, and schedule a free 20-minute coaching session. We can talk about whatever you want to. Talk about your business. We can talk about your plan for 2023, your plan for Black Friday. We can talk about whatever is on your mind when it comes to your e-commerce business. So schedule a free coaching session. Next, I do want to also invite you to join eCom Sellers Academy. It's terribly affordable. It's $17.99 a month, or you can grab the lifetime and get a free ecom planner. So you can go to ecomsellersacademy.com to sign up today. So I invite you to do that. Now we're going to go through the checklist. So once I go through the checklist afterwards, if you want to talk about your business, if you want to do an accountability check-in, if you want to tell me what you got going on for today, if you want to just ask some questions, regardless of your e-commerce method or e-commerce platform, you can definitely join us on Clubhouse. We'll talk about your business. I'll unmute you and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about when it comes to your e-commerce business. Though, if you didn't download the checklist, go download it now. We're going to step into the weekly ecom planning checklist now. So let's do that. I have to open up a screen and then I think I'm going to have to shut the door because I hear a dog. All right. Oh my gosh. I hope my voice stays. I hope that I do not sound like Betty Davis before this is over. All right. So the weekly econ planning session, the goal is to be intentional every single day. We're planning for your future success story. That means your future success story for Black Friday, because you shouldn't count yourself out. You shouldn't. You still have the opportunity this Black Friday to make some money. So let's make sure we do that. It's not too late. It's only when you quit that's when it's too late. And even then, depending on what's going on, you still can jump into the game, even if you decide to quit and then jump back in tomorrow. So I'm just saying. All right. So with that being said, with the weekly econ planning checklist, we're going to actually step through the action steps that I encourage you to do so you can build a successful schedule for next week. Now, the schedule for next week, we're going to step through it in a couple of different pieces. Step one, we are going to build a template first. So we're going to build a template so that we can use it in the future. Step two, we're going to actually build from the template. We're going to use the template to build the actual schedule. And then step three, we're going to prepare to execute the schedule that we just built. So I love the fact that we're going to build a template first so that we always have a guide. And this could be a template you could use for the next 2 weeks if you want. That may be the approach you want to take. All right. I had to move some stuff just to not hear the dog. Okay. So the first part of this is building a template. You can build a template if you have a notebook. You can grab a notebook and build your template in a notebook if you want to. You can also build it in a Google spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet, whichever way you want to. If you have the ecom planner, you can build your template for the week or for the next 2 weeks inside of there. A template is just pretty much a guide of what are the things that you're actually going to do in your business. That's what the template is. So if you're using the My Ecom Planner, great. You can just type it directly in there. If you have the digital version, you can get the digital version of the My Ecom Planner for $7.99 right now by going to myecomplanner.com. If you don't have that, you want to use a Google Sheet. And I love Google Sheets because they're digital, so you can access them from anywhere. Like if you have the app on your phone, you can just open the app on your phone and access it from there. If you or you can use Excel, whichever one works for you, but the Google, you can access it from anywhere. If you've got a Gmail account, you can do anything. So what I want to encourage you to do, sign into your Gmail account, Google account. In the upper right-hand corner is what I refer to as the Rubik's Cube. It's got like 9 dots together. And you can click on that. Once you click on that, you want to click on Google Drive. And it's like a triangle that's multicolored, yellow, green, and blue, and red. And click on that triangle. And after you click on the triangle, you're going to go over to the left-hand side of the screen, and you're going to click on the plus sign, which is also multicolored. Once you click on the plus sign that's multicolored, you're going to choose Sheets, Google Sheets. It's green. And once you open up Google Sheets, it will look very similar to Excel if you have any experience with Excel. If not, it's just a giant spreadsheet that has columns and rows, columns and rows. So I'm going to take that and we're going to actually build out our template. So with this columns and rows, there's a sheet at the bottom of the page in the lower left-hand side. It says Sheet 1. We're going to click on the plus at the bottom and we're going to create 2 sheets. Sheet 1 is going to be where we're going to do what we call our brain dump. Sheet 2 is where we're going to populate in our template. So Sheet 1 is where we're going to be right now. And you can click on the plus sign to add Sheet 2. You can left click on it and rename it. Left click and rename it to the template. And Sheet 1, you can rename it, left click, to be the brain dump. So the brain dump is a dump of what you're doing currently in your business, or it is what you're thinking about doing in your business potentially in the future. It can also encompass or include things that you want to incorporate into your life. Maybe there's some things that you want to incorporate into your life because, again, God gives us 24 hours in the day. We're not spending all 24 hours of the day working our business. We're living our lives. Like of those 24 hours, hopefully we're awake for 18 to 16 of those hours. So of those 18 to 16 hours, we are doing other stuff. And you're not spending all 18 to 16 on your business. So let's step through this. The first thing that we're going to populate is things that we already do in our life. Our goal is to not swim against the tide. Okay. We're not going to try and be salmon swimming upstream. We want to go with the flow. So if we're already doing a few things in our life and in our business, let's already include those. So in column A, you're going to label it column A1. You're going to name it already do, or things you already incorporate into your life. Next to that, you're going to put the date and the time. So that's B1 and C1. You're going to type in the day in which you do it and maybe the time in C1 in which you do it. So an example would be if you get up in the morning, every morning at 7 o'clock to go exercise, you put exercise as something you already do and you do it every day. So you can put Monday through Friday or Saturday through Sunday through Saturday, and you'll put 7 a.m. That's something you already do. If you currently create your listings every single day at 5 o'clock, then you'll write under the column of things you already do, I create listings. That's the activity that I do. And when do I do it? I do it Monday through Friday, and I do it at 5 p.m. So those are examples of how you fill in the already do. I want you to incorporate everything from in your life, everything from your financials, your fitness, your spiritual. Like if you go to Bible study on Wednesdays, put it down. If you take the kids grocery shopping every Friday evening, put it down. If you do cleaning the house or doing meal prep for the week on Saturdays or Sundays, put it down. Things that you already do that make your life better, improve your life, simplify, streamline your life. Because during Black Friday, Cyber Monday prep, you are going to continue to do some of these things. Like you could let your house go to heck for 2 weeks if you wanted to. Your call, not mine. But you need to figure out what your strategy is going to be for eating, okay? Because you're still going to have to eat in the middle of this 2-week window. So figure out, the things that you already do so you can build a template around that, okay? Now, the thing about this that we're going to step through is I want you to know that it doesn't matter what your e-commerce method, platform, or approach is. This little guide is going to help you regardless of what method of e-commerce you do and also regardless of which platform you sell on. There's going to be some things that I'm going to mention and you're going to do more of or less of depending on your e-commerce method or depending on the platform or whether or not you use tools, you have VAs, or you have some other automation in place. But these are sort of the basic foundations of just being an e-commerce seller. Like every seller has to create listings. Otherwise, you have nothing to sell. You have to create a listing somewhere. It has to exist somewhere in the universe. So if you don't have listings, then you're not a seller. It's a fact. #facts. Next, every seller, might be doing some minimal or a lot of product research, figuring out which products they might want to sell, doing some research about those products. Every seller might be doing some level of research on sourcing. Again, depending on your e-commerce method and approach, you might do more or less of that, but sourcing is another activity. And then you've got to get your products to your customers. So every seller is doing some form of shipping. You got to get it to your customer somehow. Now, you may not be doing the shipping, like maybe you have some automation or some integration. So some other process or approach is doing the shipping for you, but it's still happening as part of the entire ecosystem of your business. Like shipping is something that's happening in your business. And then hopefully you're doing some level of customer service. I mean, we hope so. And it could be minimal customer service or it could be a lot. But again, it's part of the journey of being an e-commerce seller. So when we talk about all of that, like these are basic activities, regardless of your approach or your method of e-commerce. These are things that you're doing in your business. I mean, that's just the reality. So when you're doing this brain dump, I don't want you to overthink it. I just want you to do a brain dump of the things that you feel like are serving you well in your life and serving you well in your business. Things that you do on a regular basis. They're sort of on autopilot. They're already happening in your life and they are serving your life or your business well. That's the goal, to put those things down. Then the next columns, we already did A, B, and C. So now we're going to do D, E, F is what we're going to do. D1, E1, F1. Okay. So under that, these are things you need to do in your business or must do in your business. These are things that actually matter. So creating listings, if you're not creating listings right now, that should probably be something that goes on the need to do or must do. This is part of the lifeblood of your business. It's the income producing activity of your business, income generating activity of your business, getting your products to your customer. Okay. Getting whatever the fulfillment method is or whatever the shipping method is, that's a way for you to keep or retain the money. Because if you don't ship it to your customer, you're going to have to process a refund, that means you don't get to keep the money. So again, these are activities and actions that matter in your business. So write down the things that you feel like in your business or potentially in your life, things that you really need to be doing or must be doing that you're currently not doing. Okay. Just be honest with yourself. If you're not doing them, you write it down under your need or must column. And then the last column, so if we did A, B, C, D, E, F, we G, H, I, G1, H1, I1, we're going to put in the things that we want or should be doing in our business and our life. Okay. Maybe you're doing them randomly and haphazardly. Maybe you're creating listings randomly. So maybe you create listings on Monday, then you don't do any on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday you do them. And you feel like I need a little more consistency in my life. If I'm going to make any kind of money, I got to be more consistent, at least be laser focused for the next 13 days, if nothing else. So again, figuring out things that you really want to do or should be doing in your business and want or should be doing in your life. And that can be again, things that are personal to you. Like maybe you want to make sure that you're getting out and getting some fresh air for the next 13 days because you know you're going to be heads down on, being in front of the computer or whatever the case may be, or doing shipments or whatever the case may be. So again, these are things that you want or should be doing, and you feel like you don't do them consistently or you don't do them as well. Okay. So now that we have all these columns, what we're going to do is we're going to populate these columns going down, as we said before. And we're using that first column to indicate, things that we already do, need to do, want to do. Okay. And then the column that's next to that is we're putting down the day in which we're doing them. Now for the need, must, or for the want, should columns, we don't have a date yet. We're not putting a day in which we say we want to do these things, nor are we putting down a time. But the things that we already do under column A, B, and C, we already have a date and a time. We already do these things on a regular basis. They're on autopilot. And so we're going to keep doing them as long as they're serving our life and our business well. Okay. So we're going to incorporate all the other stuff that has nothing to do with the business, because these are things that still have to get done. Like I said, in the next 13 days, you still got to eat over the next 13 days. Even if your head's down on Black Friday, you still got to eat. So you got to figure that out. So these are things you really should be doing. Now, I'm going to give you some ideas to help you if you're struggling with what should I put under each column. So here's some ideas, and they're not tailored to the next 13 weeks. They are in general, so that way, again, some of these things you'll be doing in the next 13 weeks, and some of these you will not be doing in the next 13 weeks. So an example would be sourcing related activities. So, I just gave you a bunch of different sourcing ideas and strategies that you could still use this late in the game. But typically, you would be doing some level of sourcing or engaging in some sourcing activity over the next 2 to 20 weeks. So not just thinking about now until New Year's, like what about January, sourcing products for January or February or March, especially with the fact that China has their Chinese New Year and most of the manufacturing shut down for a period of time. So did you think about that, or have you not thought about that at all? Yeah, that's something to think about. And maybe right after the next 13 days, you'll be like, okay, I got to place a whole bunch of orders so that I can at least get some inventory if I didn't already do so. Now, you should have already placed those orders if we're going to be honest, but that's okay. If you need to place your orders, you can still do that. So again, something to think about. What's happening when it comes to your inventory for the next 2 to 20 weeks? What are the upcoming holidays, events, seasons? What replenishables do you think are going to be selling like hotcakes over the next 20 weeks? What consumables are going to be selling like hotcakes over the next 20 weeks? Think about that. Consumables like Valentine's Day. Yeah. I don't know how much longer my voice is going to stay with us, but anyway, Valentine's Day. There's a lot of consumables. There's a lot of consumables around Thanksgiving. There's a lot of consumables around Christmas. People are eating chocolate and candy and all kinds of stuff like crazy. So again, what are those things over the next 20 weeks and thinking beyond the end of the year? What are your wholesale and drop shipping opportunities? So what are people buying in January? What are they buying in first quarter, January, February, March? What are people buying? Something to think about if you're struggling and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. So if you want to, make sure you're focusing for the next 13 days. And then after the next 13 days, you need to immediately pivot to be thinking about first quarter immediately. whether you're wholesale or private label opportunities. There's a lot of products where there's a white label opportunity. And so, again, pulling together that list. Again, it might not be something you think about today, might be something you think about in 13 after the next 13 days. Next 13 days for those people who are forgetting is Black Friday is in 13 days. So just saying. Now, research. So, what product research, listing research, keyword research do you need to still do for the next 13 days? Hopefully, today you will do these things or tomorrow because you're really, really close. But again, I don't want you to freak out, get paralyzed because, again, your 9 busiest shopping days of the year are happening between Black Friday and New Year's Day. So you still have some time. You still have an opportunity to take advantage of that. So product listings, product research, listing research, keyword research. Are you optimizing those listings? Is that an activity you probably should be doing over the next 13 weeks? Like you should be revisiting every single one of your listings to make sure they are optimized for the platform, optimized for the product, optimized for traffic. Okay, sending those listings through Pingler and Ping Farm. Listing activities. So again, what is your strategy for the next couple of days? When it 13 days for listings, but just beyond that, with the listing, the components of a listing are your title, your description, your images, your price. Are you going to do cross listing? Have you thought about that? Cross listing on multiple channels or on multiple platforms? Are you going to do some social media cross listing sharing? Are you going to create any videos that's part of the listing, or find an existing video that represents your product well, that's not already branded, that you could just use and throw up on your listing? Because again, people are visual buyers. So you got to have an amazing image. You got to have a great title, amazing image, and a video does not hurt. I mean, why do you think all these people make a lot of money with TikTok? There's a reason. Videos sell. So something to think about. Next, shipping related activities. Whether you're doing FBA is a little late. I'm just going to tell you. You should already had your shipment already sent off, like by Halloween, if you're going to do FBA. Now, you can still do merchant fulfilled, seller fulfilled. Got Walmart, WFS. Now, I don't want you to not do anything, because you still can. If you go ahead and send your shipment off to Amazon, you still can make some money. It's just that listing, there's no guarantee that inventory will be checked in by Black Friday. I'm like, you're too close. But can it be checked in for the remaining hot selling days of the year? Yes, because after Black Friday, so your top selling days are Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Small Business Saturday, and then after that you have the Saturday before Christmas, the Saturday of free shipping, like when there's normally a guaranteed shipping window. So most stores will say, hey, if you order by this date, we'll guarantee you'll get it by Christmas, that kind of free shipping thing. And then you also have, there's like 2 other days. I don't have them all memorized. But in any case, you still have at least another 7 days, 6 days of hot sales. So even if you send in your FBA shipment today, package it off, send it off today, you'll still be alive. Now, that listing will be sort of out there in the universe, and it's nothing like a warehouse taking forever to check your crap in. It'll piss you off. So make sure you hold back some inventory if you're going to do that. Okay, I'm just saying, because it will piss you off. So consider merchant fulfilled strategy. Also check in with your 3PL or your fulfillment center if you're using another fulfillment center like Deliver or somebody, Ship Bob, whatever. Make sure you check in with them to make sure they're adequately staffed for your last minute shipments. But again, these are shipping related activities. These are things you're going to put under your columns that are beyond the next 13 days. These are beyond the next 13 days. Admin related activities. Okay, these you probably are not even going to focus on anything administrative for the next 13 days. I'm just going to say it. But after that 13 days, you probably should come back and look at your data and your stats on a more detailed, kind of focused effort here. Okay. So when I talk about platform reports, filing your taxes, account reconciliation, balancing your budget, tracking your expenses, receipts, ordering inventory, checking expiration dates, auditing your inventory, if you're outsourcing stuff to a VA or someone else is going to be doing the work, do you have standard operating procedures in place? These are not things that you're probably thinking about for the next 13 days. Some of them, majority of them, you're probably not. But There will be things that you will be thinking out after the next 13 days. Adjusting your prices, probably. A lot of you probably have price adjuster tools that you could be using. So you want to dial those in this week or today. Make sure you have a plan for that. Analyzing your data, reviewing your stats. You should already know what your stats were from last year so that you know what you're going to gauge and try to compete with or beat this year, or at least not do worse than last year. Okay. Customer service, how are you handling questions, returns, refunds, reviews? You're probably not getting as many returns, reviews, and refunds in the next 13 days. But you probably will get some customer questions. The goal is to create a listing that's so inclusive that it minimizes and mitigates the customer questions. But if you do get customer questions, what is your strategy for dealing with that? What's your plan? What's your strategy? What's your approach? So again, something to think about in your planning for the next 13 days. If you hadn't thought about it, throw it on the list. Okay. You will have to deal with returns. It's just par for the course. It is part of the e-commerce journey. There will be returns. Just suck it up, buttercup, because you're going to have to deal with them. Okay. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. Some people have fewer returns than others. So just be prepared for it and know what your strategy and your approach is going to be to respond to those things. And you're also going to have fraud. Okay. It just is part of the e-commerce journey. I hate to say it, but I'm just being honest. There's some shady folks out there that like to do some gamifying things to the process in the system, and they're going to try to play you. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you'll never experience those crazy fraudulent people. I hope you don't. But just know they exist, and they ain't got nothing better to do than to mess with you. Okay. Then you have education opportunities. You're probably not thinking about learning anything new in the next 13 days. But when you get past the next 13 days, just as a whole, what are the things that you want to learn how to do better, things you want to understand better, things, skills or knowledge that you want to gain or develop or build? Those are things you should be thinking about for the future, and they can go on your template, and you may not do anything with them in the next 13 days, but after the next 13 days, or maybe into 2023, then you really start taking them seriously and put together a strategy for Q1. And then you have marketing and traffic. So sending your listings through Pingler or Ping Farm, those are like pinging tools. If you've never checked them out, go look them up. And I'm saying ping as in P-I-N-G. I know I do not sound good. Like my voice has been deteriorating this whole time. So I just trying to make sure I enunciate my words because my voice is going away. Social sharing, sharing your listings across multiple social media platforms so that they're visible, even considering creating some TikToks for products that you know are going to be hot sellers. If you don't believe that it works, just go watch TikTok for just a little bit. Don't get sucked into the vortex of wasting hours watching TikTok. I'm just saying, be specific, set a timer so you can get in and get out. Otherwise, you'll get sucked into the vortex of the black hole. And then blogs. It's a little late to be trying to optimize a blog, but it's still something you can do as part of your strategy for the future. So I don't want to just exclude it for the next 13 days, but it is something that you could use and take advantage of. If you're really good at optimizing blog content very quickly, maybe. Paid ads, paid campaigns. We talked about that before. Email marketing, video marketing. You still have time to put together a video, email marketing campaign, even a video marketing campaign. Optimizing your listings. That was number one on the list when prepping for prepping for Black Friday. Engaging influencers. I don't know. We'll see. There might be some influencers that'll do some last minute work with you. I don't know. Some of them have probably already figured out who they're doing work with and what they're going to be doing. But there are some that will be like, okay, I'm still down, and maybe they'll do a sprint with you. Promotions, coupon sales, all of those things to be ready for the next 13 days and beyond. Because again, we can't just focus on just the next 13 days 100%, but you can put together sort of a template for what you're going to be doing and where you want to invest your energy and your time for the next 13 days. And then you can expand out, because we're going to just do laser focus. So we're going to, micro focus on it, and then we're going to macro focus, going to expand out after the next 13 days so that we can sort of get our train back on the tracks and build some normalcy back into our business. So if you're still with me in this crazy voice, we're getting close to the end. So now that we've kind of done this brain dump of things to think about for the next 13 days, and in general, for a template that we could use long term, we write down, what day some of these activities we're going to be engaged in makes the most sense, what time of day. Again, going back to maybe you're working 4 hours a day in your business, you decide for the next 14 days or 13 days, I'm going to, instead of working, or you can say 14 or 15, I'm going to work 5 days a week and I'm going to work 6 hours a day in my business. So you're going to ratchet it up, and it's okay. That's good. You're going to go from 20 hours a week to 30 hours a week. Heads up. Good thing. So go through that process of figuring out which day you want to sort of do some of the activities that you've listed. And these are generic activities. You can get into the details in just a second. Also, maybe instead of putting a time, that you want to say, these are the things I want to accomplish in the morning. These are things I want to accomplish in the afternoon. And these are things I want to accomplish in the evening. That's fine. Just start building that schedule. And that way you can begin the process of reassessing it. Some of the things you're going to write down may or may not have anything to do with setting time blocks or creating a checklist, a to-do list, because they might have, some of those tasks may have a little small subtask that needs to go with it. That's sort of a checklist kind of situation. Some of them, you're going to definitely establish some SMART goals. What are your targets for your sales? What are your targets for your traffic? What are your targets for the products that you want to focus on and invest a lot of energy in? Something might be like, okay, I would like to, between now and Black Friday, well, as I say, in the next 4 days, I want to have at least 1,000 listings up, and maybe you're at 800. So that means you have to invest time in creating another 200 listings. So again, figuring out what your plan, your strategy is going to be. And there, some of these things will become either mini goals. Some of them may become things that you have to do, build a routine around. Some of them will be time blocks that you're going to have block off time for. And some of them you're going to have measurable goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, relevant or realistic, and timely or time bound. So you clearly have a time. 13 days. That's Black Friday. So you already have a time. So that, we're back into that. Reverse engineer the rest of that. Reverse engineer all the other goals and objectives. But in order to do the goals and objectives, you got to write down what it is you want to accomplish first. Okay. I don't want you to be overwhelmed by this. I know that I rattled off a whole bunch of stuff. Just come back and listen to the replay. So then that way you have the opportunity to slow down and think about it. Because I'm trying to get through this before my voice leaves and goes to another universe. It completely leaves me. So once you've kind of done this brain dump, we're going to take all that information, we're going to organize it, and we're going to actually put it into the template, which is on tab 2. And we're going to organize it in such a way that we say, these are the things I want to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. These are the things I want to do in the morning on Monday, afternoon Monday, evening Monday, so that way you actually build a schedule. Now, you don't want to overload it, because if you overload it, one, it might paralyze you. But two, when you start getting to the place where you don't feel like you're accomplishing the things that are on the list, then you become deflated, and then you just kind of run away from the list and you don't accomplish anything. And then you go, oh, wow, another Black Friday and I didn't make any money. So we're not trying to do that. We can create small goals and small wins to help you to make a little bit of money. Maybe you have an aggressive goal of making $50,000 in one day. And some people will hit $1 million in a day. But for you, that may not be a realistic goal, depending on where you are in your e-commerce journey and what it is that you got planned for the next couple of days. If you're strategic about it and you're experienced and you know what it is you need to do, you're just going to buckle down and you're going to do the things you need to do to get there. But if you're new on this journey, having a win like making $2,000 or $5,000 in one day is a good win. Celebrate it, okay? Don't be overwhelmed by this. So as part of your planning, you're going to take the information from the brain dump spreadsheet and you're going to move it over to the template spreadsheet so that you can start organizing when you're going to engage in these different activities and what it is you're going to be doing. The one thing I would encourage you to do is definitely make sure you have a listing related activity every single day for the next 13 days, whether it's creating new listings, optimizing listings, or whatever the case may be, cross-listing, make sure that you have a listing activity every day. If nothing else, that will help you to get some organic traffic. All right, so now that we've kind of built this template, the one that we build for the next 13 days may only be for the next 13 days, okay? You may cut back and build one that you want to use longer term based on your life and how your lifestyle is, that you can use and execute on a regular basis in Q1. So again, you can build 2 versions of it today, something I'm going to invest in like crazy for the next 13 days, and something I want to keep longer term. The one that you build is for longer term. You'll probably test drive it for about a good 2 or 3 weeks, tweak it, and build a new version. I will tell you, as far as I'm concerned, I have multiple templates. I have at least 4 templates, one for when my kids are in school, one for when my kids are out of school in summertime, one for when my son is running track, and one for Q4. So I have 4 templates, and I normally just rotate those 4 templates so that I can build my actual schedule. So let's build the actual schedule. So the template just kind of gives us a guide of what the activity is that we're going to be doing. That's what the activity is. So if I say I'm going to create listings, now I'm going to say what types of listings I'm going to create. So I'm going to get into the weeds now. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to take that template and I'm going to say, okay, if on Monday I say I'm creating listings at 5 o'clock, what are the exact listings that I'm going to be creating at 5 o'clock? Am I creating my stocking listings? Am I creating my advent calendar listings? Am I creating my print on demand listings right then? Am I creating my drop shipping listings? What are the listings that I'm actually going to create? Because again, you had to think about what your strategy is going to be for Black Friday if you hadn't already thought about it. So now that I say I've kind of got an outline of what I'm going to be doing, now let's put the details into that. So Monday I'm just making up some stuff. Monday I'm creating my advent calendar listings. Tuesday I'm going to create my stocking bundle listings. Wednesday I'm going to create my I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. Wednesday I'm going to create my holiday candy listings. Thursday, I'm going to create. So you're going to go through a Friday. I'm going to create my print on demand listings. And then I'm going to be specific. Am I creating print on demands for fall or am I creating print on demand for Christmas? I'm going to create my print on demand for Christmas. Okay. So I'm going to go through that process and start the process of creating those. Now, I've already said most of the stuff I'm talking about, you should have already been thinking about in Q3. Seriously, honest. But there's still an opportunity for you to make some money. So we're not going to count out the activity that you're going to engage in. We're going to use this as part for the course because this is, I will tell you, the best time for those people who are starting to get some quick wins. Most of the people get started in e-commerce and they're like, I'm not making any money. But this window of between Black Friday and New Year's is the best time because if nothing else, it's kind of like fishing. It's fishing in a pond that's just been loaded up with trout or catfish or whatever else you like to fish with. Because you throw your rod in, no matter what, you're going to get some level of a bite. Even if you have the worst worm or the worst gear or the worst everything, you're going to get at least something. You may not be able to get as many fish as you want to get, but you'll still get some bites. And that is the great thing about it. Unlike when you're doing, going through Q1 or Q2 and you're new to the game, it's a little bit of a slower process. And so the fish are biting like crazy right now. And that's why casting your line during this window of before Black Friday all the way into the end of the year is the best time to do this because the fish are biting. They're biting. They're looking to eat. They're ready. All you have to do is put your line in. That means you just need to be organized and ready to go. Otherwise, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start plugging in the what now that we built the template. What are the things that I'm actually going to be doing? What am I shipping? What am I, or at least auditing the ship? Like I might every single day, if I'm doing print on demand, I want to go make sure that my platform that I have an integration with is actually shipped out orders for my customers. Don't assume it's happening on autopilot. This is that window in which you need to double check, double down on double checking. Okay. You need to make sure that they don't have a delay in printing, they don't have a delay in shipping, they don't have a delay in whatever. Because nothing like getting a request from a customer to request a refund because you weren't paying attention and you didn't know that your platform was having problems, or whatever your integration supplier process, like, oh, they have a hiccup and so they lost 10 of my orders. Like, you don't need to be caught off guard by those surprises. You should know this stuff. Okay. So you're going to go through and you're going to fill in your what's. What are you doing product research on? What are you sourcing? Like, going to be intentional. If I say I'm going to do sourcing and I say, okay, I'm going to drive down to the liquidator that's in Garland on Wednesday at 3:00. Okay. I'm going to be specific about what I'm doing, because if I say I'm sourcing and I say I'm sourcing for wholesale, then I know I'm late in the game. I got to go figure out, where am I sourcing? I got to go somewhere where I know that there's actual inventory. I got to already have my truck so I can put the inventory on the back of the truck and drive it home and be ready to go. So again, what is the actual activity I'm going to be doing this late in the game, so that way I have an opportunity to make some money? Just so you know, some of these liquidators are open today. It is Saturday. Now, I'm filling in the what. And that is building my schedule for next week. I'm also going to look at the stuff that I have on my plate or my agenda for my monthly plan. And I'm also going to look at what my priorities are for the next 2 weeks. Again, if you feel like Thanksgiving is going to be your linchpin, it's going to be the thing that's going to create some challenges for you because you got family coming in from out of town, this might be that time we have a conversation with them. Say, look, I would love y'all and I really want to see you, but I got to do something this Thanksgiving. So can we see each other for Christmas, and let's just Skype for Thanksgiving or something? Figure it out. FaceTime, whatever works for you. And tell them, I'll see you on Christmas. I promise. We're getting in the car. We'll come see you. Or you can come see us. It doesn't really matter. But this is like a bad time for me. So figure out, again, for the next 2 weeks, what do you need to move around? Order your Thanksgiving dinner if you don't want to cook it yourself, or be prepared to cook it yourself and know that that's going to be your downtime window if that was going to be your work time. And then as you're continuing to think beyond the next 13 days, what are some of the other routines and habits you need to establish in your business? And this is an opportunity to build sort of that schedule of what that might look like longer term later on. You can always change the schedule. You can always adjust it. You can always make corrections to it. So now that we've kind of gone through and we've taken the template, we built sort of a schedule of a shell of a schedule. Now we're going to move forward into executing it. Knowing what our goals are for November. If you didn't establish any monthly goals, go back and listen to the monthly planning session. Knowing what our objective is and what our priorities are for the week. Our priority for the next 13 days or for the next 2 weeks should be listing. Like, you should double down on listing. You should double down on the amount of time you spend in your business. You should double down on, if you've outsourced to different tools, resources, platforms, that you double down on those efforts. That's really what your priority should be for the next 2 weeks. And then you're ready to execute and track where you are every single day. Track what's happening, checking off your list, making sure that you're following your schedule as closely as you can. Allow yourself some grace and mercy, because we are in the 6th season, as you can clearly tell from my voice. So that means that people are going to get the flu. They're going to get COVID. They're going to get strep. They're going to get RSV. People are going to get sick. So that will definitely throw you off your game. Just do what you can to boost your immune system, keep your immune system strong, get some rest, make sure you drink, eat some lemons, all those things, take your supplements, whatever you need to do, so that you can hold on for the next 13 days or the next 15 days, so you can hold on and really take advantage of Black Friday. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you use it to make some money. Hope you'll share this out with a friend. Let somebody know about the daily and the weekly eCom planning session. And you can come back for another segment. We are going to do part 2 of Black Friday on Monday, along with our regular daily eCom planning session, which is normally short. So with that, I hope you have an amazingly blessed, extremely productive, and highly profitable day. We're still live on Clubhouse. So if you want to unmute and ask me questions, you can. We can talk about whatever method of e-commerce and whatever platform. And if you're live on Facebook, just jump over to Clubhouse and join the eCom Sellers Club so we can talk about your business. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now, guys. Bye. Ooh, my voice.